Welcome to the Uncivil Mentality Podcast. I'm Erik Vidal.
And I'm Reilly Kilbride.
Let's go. Let's go.
I honestly don't text you during the week because this is our opportunity to communicate and talk. So I'm like, man, we're gonna have our weekly talk. It'll be fine. We can bring up anything and just shoot
Right.
it. So I get super excited for these.
I understand. Because
so
if you
this,
keep up with during the week, then you already know what's going on. There's nothing really to talk about, type of thing.
not
So
much
you
to
save
catch
it
up
for.
on.
Yeah. What's up, my dude?
Nothing, man. Just we got a full night's sleep last night, dude. It was like a damn lottery ticket. We won a damn lottery last night. It was good. I feel good. It's crazy what a full night's rest will do.
Yeah, game changer.
Lucky.
Sleeping is training.
Yeah, sometimes that's the hard part.
So this morning, gnarly workout,
Okay.
gnarly training session with the boys. And you know what's cool? When you're able to gauge where you're at just by your environment. So long story short, I gotta go back to the drawing board. I am not where I want to be. After
That's
the
always
75 hard, I've tapered off so much that it shows. So some of the guys, so the training was the deck of cars workout,
Mm-hmm.
and then strip, and then go for a 6 mile run.
Ooh.
Come back from that, another
Another
deck of cars workout,
Yeah.
and go for another 6 mile run.
Yo, that's a lot though.
Spicy.
Yeah.
Round one. So the jokers are towers. Go up and down the tower for the jokers, and then up
Up and
downs,
down one.
up and down one.
Mhm.
Yeah. Time consuming just to get a break from the up downs, the push ups, the mountain climbers, and then the jumping jacks. But nonetheless, it's on an app that you select and
Oh,
it
that's pretty
automatically
cool.
does it for you. Yeah. So unknown. And
You
then
don't
you're
even know
just like,
cards. You don't even need cards.
you don't need cards. No, it's an app. Yeah. Deck of cards.
Crazy.
Man. I held my own on the first round, but then the second round I started stripping. Yeah. And I'm just coming
I mean,
over.
that's 12 miles of running, dude.
I'm coming over. I was not feeling well this past week. I got a
Mm.
cold, and I was just coming over or coming out of the cold. I'm better now, but these past couple of days, horrible,
Do you
horrible.
when you feel sick, do you when you feel like a bug coming on, do you do anything crazy? Any Santa Maria, egg on your head, something or anything like that? That's how I
N-
grew up with my grandma, dude.
No, no, not as no. I just all right, hunker down. And if I do get a fever, I try to sweat it out.
Mm,
So I put layers on and I try to sweat during my sleep. But
yeah.
other than that, vitamin C, chicken soup, I'll probably
Mm.
ante up. I'll intake more chicken soup. Um, but nothing too crazy. Stay hydrated. But there's so much phlegm and so much
Mm.
stuff coming out of your nostrils.
You could feel better from that, and then for 2 more weeks, you got all that snot and shit inside of you, and I hate that the worst. That's almost worse than the sick is getting rid of all the rest of the shit. I hate that.
Well, it
I get sick.
doesn't have to do with gluten
I have no idea, man. We really stay away from that stuff, so
because it's in the name glue and gluten. It's the glue is in the name. So
I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if that has any correlation.
so how it transfers over to mucus. I mean, it's just a molecule away from mucus.
Mm.
So yeah,
We
just
have
like
this.
lactose.
We do this thing at the house. If we're feeling sick, we'll eat a little clove of garlic, like raw garlic. Son,
Money,
it'll fix anything.
money. As of lately, I've done this for a couple years now, and I just have it on stock. Oil of oregano
Yes,
to
yes,
ante up the
dude,
immunity.
yes. Fuck yeah, that
Yeah,
is real good, and that
that
shit'll turn your damn eyebrows another color.
and I still got sick. I don't know if I can't really pinpoint to where I got sick. I want to say it was a patient. They just coughed in my face.
Mm.
Total disregard for super inconsiderate. But yeah, or I touched something dirty, and I don't know because Mel isn't sick.
Mm.
I was just the one that was.
I think
You know,
with our job, we just exposed to so many different places, different people, you can't even contact trace anymore. You run 12 calls, you go to 12 different houses. It's insane. The exposure that we face just by germs of people, especially old folks' homes. dude, we go in there and it's like I feel like I need a shower afterwards. Like it's bad. Like I just don't like it.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
a job.
this episode, we actually asked people what they wanted us to talk about, and the subjects that they brought up were actually really dope. Um, I took some notes, man. I did some homework today. The first kind of topic they wanted to talk about was aerobic versus anaerobic exercise. So, what's your take?
So anaerobic is within that 3 to 5 minute window,
Hmm.
right?
So, just by definition, aerobic is with oxygen, anaerobic is without oxygen.
Correct.
Hmm.
So for example, Fran,
Yeah. Yes.
even though you need lung
That
capacity and
that's literally the first thing that comes to mind is like
muscle
that
endurance.
shitty feeling like you feel like I feel like I get blood in my mouth and like yeah, CrossFit anaerobic is tough because those intervals are just nasty.
Even like sled sprints,
Mm-hmm.
pushing, pulling on sled or whatnot, and just the buildup of lactic acid in your legs. Pretty gnarly. And then correct me if I'm wrong, aerobic,
Mm-hmm.
past the 15-minute window,
Yeah, yeah, like maybe past 12 to 15, like
12.
anything a lot of the stuff that I read was like percentage of your heart rate. So like keeping your heart rate low would be more of aerobic exercise, like walking, talking, a bike ride, anything where you can communicate to people is considered aerobic. Um, Aerobic is super, yeah, low key stuff. Like a ruck. A ruck would be a good example of aerobic activity. Um, I like to do a little bit of mix of both, if I'm being honest. I don't like to stick to just to really, spicy intervals. I like to work for 45 minutes to 60 minutes at a low intensity. I think they both benefit your physical fitness and definitely apply to the fire ground.
Well, anaerobic is considered strength. So
Hmm.
you have your rep scheme, uh, and then your sets.
Hmm.
So you could do more sets with lower reps. Um, so there's that for strength. It's definitely a
Yeah.
deadlift,
Mm.
3 by 5, 5 sets with 3 reps or whatnot, 7 by 3, so on and so forth. So yeah, definitely both
Hmm.
are needed in the fire service. Today was a perfect example.
That's
And
long.
muscular
That's a long
endurance.
trip. Dude, that's a
Uh,
long.
so I
That's
started
aerobic.
my clock when we were getting dressed, and I stopped my clock when we stopped running. 4 hours,
Oh
11
my
minutes
God.
later.
That's crazy.
It was
What were
good.
the splits on the run?
It was so glorious, man. It was
Okay.
amazing. And the thing to get to that point, so you got to push past, mind you, I started shedding gear in the second round, but these guys, I was looking around, these guys were still going. I was like, wow,
Hell yeah.
yes, I suck. I need to go back to the drawing board. I need to get
That's a
better.
an internal judge, brother. That's not
Yeah.
the truth. You're sick.
No, but these guys were savages, man. And just fortunate to be among those men. So yeah. And it was
That's
for
the
one of
room
my
you want to
boys'
be in,
birthday.
though. What's up?
It was one of my boys' birthday like celebration. Like he wanted to get with the boys and just throw down. So I mean, super healthy. I love that concept. I love that idea.
Yeah.
Instead of just going out and fooling around. Hey man, let's just stack the suffering. Just let's go. Let's throw down. And
That's awesome.
yeah,
Um,
pretty amazing.
for me, I think what for and the question I'm going to ask you, what aerobic versus anaerobic, what do you compare a fire scene more to? Obviously, it could be a little bit of both.
Mixture of both, but definitely is aerobic
Hmm.
because time on scene is lengthy,
Hmm.
but but strength is needed.
Hmm.
So you're holding your breath and you're picking up X. X is a variable, and yeah, you definitely need that capacity. You need that strength capacity, and then you need that aerobic capacity. And those that training gear and those that are have muscular endurance and the runners, etc., with the low heart rates in rehab, you could tell who they are.
Oh yeah.
So the most evident, so evident, who
Hmm.
puts in the work, who doesn't, when you're at rehab.
I love getting that first bottle through and going to rehab to switch bottles, and you look around and you can see who those motherfuckers are. You look around, is this guy ready to go back in, or is this guy begging? Is all of his face telling me that he's done, or is he ready to go back in? I just do this side to side, and you know you're good with a good crew, and they all look hungry. Like, let's go back in, let's go do what we need to do. I love that. That's one of my favorite moments. Like little moments in firefighting where you look to your right, you look to your left, you're like, oh, I got some dogs with me. Let's go. Love that shit. I love
As I'm
that
hearing you
shit.
speak, you're probably just talking about me. Those motherfuckers are my first fire. Dude, it was
Cooked.
sad. Looking back in retrospect, I was like, man, I did not know what I was about to encounter.
Mhm.
But that was that spark, right? That ember that I needed to, like, that switch to say, okay, I'm not good now. I gotta get better. So
Mhm.
if it wasn't for that, man, who knows where I would be? Who knows well, well, this wouldn't even happen. This wouldn't even be possible, if I didn't turn on that switch. So yeah, man.
I think a fire scene is a beautiful, like a beautiful masterpiece of both of these pathways, aerobic versus anaerobic. Like you have to have the endurance to be on a scene for a long time, but in between you have these small little intervals as well, like pulling a hose line, throwing a ladder, searching, forcing a door. Like all of those are these
Mm.
smaller little anaerobic activities within this really large aerobic total time. And you have to be good at both, and you have to be able to manage both as well. Which that's why I train. That's why I love to train and get to that zone in my training. So when I'm, pushing down a hallway and I've got the nozzle and I've got to, crawl down the hallway to push into the bedroom, that's high intervals right there.
It's all encompassing, right?
Oh yeah.
So I'm not sure as far as the question regarding which one is preferred for a firefighter to like
Mhm.
attack or have a strength on. Honestly, you need both. So
Yeah.
in my experience, and yeah, you need to be strong because you can't fake being strong. It's absolute. Either you're
Mhm.
strong or you're not. Either you have strength or you're not. And if you're strong, you can taper off to be weak. But if you're weak, you can't muster strength.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know? So there's that. And then conditioning, work capacity. Everything's synonymous with CrossFit. That's why that's why I fuck with CrossFit, man. That's why I always go back to it because you train for the known and unknowable, right? Constantly varied function movements, execute at high intensity. I mean, that's CrossFit. And so in our profession, that's it.
Yeah.
That is exactly it.
I literally said the same thing on Danny B's podcast. Like that same thing, the same 30 seconds that you just said, I can repeat that all the time. It's the exact same as the fire scene. You, you can't argue with that.
Did we just become best friends?
Yeah. Yep. Do you want to
Yo,
do karate in the garage?
yep.
Yep.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
I
Dude,
think
I heard your podcast with Danny B. I told you, right?
yeah,
A
yeah,
while
yeah.
ago. Yeah, I
That
was
was a
like,
long time ago. Well, I heard yours as well, like a long time before that as well.
yeah,
And then you're the only person he's had on twice. So I've listened to both of them.
my man.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this, because prior to going to Georgia Smoke Diver,
Hmm.
I was on his podcast. And bro, something told me that little voice was like, just be humble, man. Don't act a certain way and just be who you are, right? So I am humble because I know what God gives, he could also take.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
quickly.
right, facts. So, you know, I'm humble. With all humility, I said I will get what I deserve. So, and
No, you
it was
said on the
evident.
podcast that you were going to Dalton. Like you said on the podcast, and that's when I heard it, and I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta message this motherfucker here." I was like, "Oh shit, let's go."
Because he asked, he was like, "Hey man, so you're in the space about fitness and training and gear, etc. Have you considered a smoke diver program?" I was like,
Mm.
"Yeah, no one knows, but yes. As a matter of fact, I'll be in class 64." And that was the first time I said it out loud to, like,
Woof.
I guess the masses or just anyone outside my circle. And the more I spoke about it, this is the thing about visualization and manifesting. The
Hmm.
more I said it out loud, and the more I visualized getting to day 6, the more it was attainable, right?
Mm.
And I envisioned myself on day 6 receiving the shirt, receiving the coin, and started heading south, to go back home. So yeah,
That's
man, it's so
powerful.
key. It's so key.
Powerful.
Visualization. Well, Conor McGregor speaks about it, about
Yeah.
the law of attraction,
Hmm.
and super gangster, how he just speaks it with like full conviction because he believes it. Like this is gonna happen. I'm gonna take the necessary steps to make it happen. I see myself there already. I am the person fitting, deserving of that placement or location or whatnot. And he does it.
Yeah.
He does it. So how important is visualization and manifesting like in your realm and in your life?
So I got into like really some meditation slash visualization stuff when I was in the sport of weightlifting. I got into Olympic weightlifting for a while, was trying to get stronger and put on some weight. So I focused for about maybe 6, 7 months on just weightlifting. And I had a coach that was really into visualization. He said, literally close your eyes and picture the weights on the bar and, the grip of the barbell and what you have on and the clean and then the jerk and this, like he's like, visualize each one of your reps. So when you get there, it's already happened. Like you're to a point of view where you're watching yourself already do what you're manifesting. And ever since then, that's really stuck with me. So a lot of the goals that I have now, I try to do that as well. I reached out to one of my buddies, John O'Neill. I'll tag him in this. He was an army sniper, and we always talk about visualization and stuff like this. And he said I asked him like, "Yo, I'm trying to do this thing. How do you stay in the zone when you're trying to do something that's very high speed or like military type training?" It's like it's impossible to feel anxious or you know nervous if you're in the mindset of gratitude. Like if you're grateful in a moment, it's almost impossible to feel anxious or nervous. It's like, man, I'm so grateful to be here. I got the opportunity to be here. Like I'm grateful for this, and this. He's like, if you can make a gratitude in your list or in your head of those moments, your anxiety naturally will go away. Like your brain can't do both. You can't be nervous and be grateful at the same time. And that always has stuck with me because dude's high speed for sure. So I took that and I've been trying to run with that as well.
Two things that come to mind when you were speaking. There's been studies about people visualizing working out. So they took a group of people that were visualizing working out, and they took another group that people were not visualizing and they didn't work out or whatnot. Anyways, long story short, the people that visualized or did those mental reps, their physiology changed.
Mm.
However small, minuscule, but they changed as compared to the people that did not visualize, repetition or executing movements or you know whatnot. I forget where I got that data from, but it's so important and it's so valid to like this conversation right now. If you could go in your mind and repeat it and do the mental reps, by the time you get to the bar or by the time you get to whatever task, just just do what you kind of remember we're trying to do.
Yeah, I think when I was in recruit school, I was looking into data of like they use this term called mind gymming it, like going through all the steps of a skill in your head was actually more beneficial than actually doing the skill physically.
Correct. Correct.
So going
Yeah.
through your steps and processes and things that I know that I have to do in that order in your head, like is more beneficial than the physical skill. So anyone listening to this that's trying to learn something new or try something or learn, try that. Like mentally go through it. Mind gym it is what the term they use, and that has stuck with me as well. Mentally doing the reps as well as physically doing the reps makes a big deal.
And going back to point number two, Matt Frazier spoke about how he gets to the gym and he's super happy, he's laughing, he's joking around, and as the workouts progress, his demeanor and his joy starts to dwindle, right?
Mm.
But because he was so happy, I think Goggins speaks about it too. Like you go in there smiling and whatnot, and then as it starts to suck, you're able to endure more as compared to going into the gym with a shitty attitude, pouting already,
Mm.
um, hating life or whatnot. And then what makes you think you're gonna be successful or keep on enduring hardship when you already have, you know, you're not enjoying it. It's not a good time. So the more the more laughing or the more smiles he had on, he could kind of taper off during hard
Th-
workouts.
That's a bad mother effer if you can smile when everyone's, you know, dying during a workout. If you see it, look around, you see a motherfucker smiling.
Yeah.
I think it was a couple classes ago, but on Smoke Divers, they were like posting pictures of people's faces like mid-week or something. And then there's this one motherfucker that has a big old grin on his face.
Yeah.
Everyone else is just like dogged, like
Yeah.
just
I
mud all over their face. And
yeah, I
one
remember what you're
dude's
talking about.
just
Yeah, I met the
smiling.
dude.
Dude, he
Dog.
seems he's a fucking champion.
Yeah.
I was like, that dude's a dog. Like that dude is a dog,
Yeah.
smiling in the feet of just something fucking terrible.
Yeah. Doesn't it happen to you sometimes where you're just like in the moment and you just can't help but smile because this shit fucking sucks. So
Yeah,
what else can you do?
yeah,
You gonna
I,
cry?
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
what's
What's
the
gonna?
alternative?
Yeah, I've always told people like I could pick up dog shit and have a good time. Like I'm gonna make it fun. Like I can put myself in a really bad situation, and your attitude and like your presence in that is gonna
Okay.
make.
All right. I have to say this out
Oh
loud.
God,
Have you ever burned shit?
burn shit.
Have you ever
Yes.
burned human feces?
No,
So the
not
movie
human.
Jarhead,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that is real.
Oh, burning
Overseas,
shit.
yes, porta johns made out of wood or whatnot with tin cans under. So, you know,
You
our
can
troops,
imagine that.
peers, our my peers could go to the restroom. So we had cycles and we're fire watch or fire like duties and chores.
Mhm.
So I was in it. I was when my turn was up, I'll leave my conics because we had makeshift housing. So connexes with
Mhm.
a wooden door and a counterweight of sand, a bottle full of sand to like counterweight the door and whatnot. So you leave, anyways, you leave the connex in a clean uniform, and then you come back after your chore, your duty, and covered in soot. But it's
Mhm.
not soot because it's shit because you were burning shit for like 6 hours, dude. So you need a lot of fuel,
Yeah.
JP8, and you need to stir it. You need to
Oh
stir
yeah.
the shit because what happens when you pour the fuel, it's a layer on top of the feces, and you ignite it. And what happens? The layer on top of the feces, that layer just
Yeah.
burns off. But what happens to the layer under it? No, no, no. You gotta stir it, my dude.
Oh,
It
shit
it
stir, baby.
I've
You're
done
y- you're not
I've
the
done
first
so
person to tell me
much.
that story.
I've done so much for so little. It's not even funny. It builds
So,
character. Um, man, but these were the conditions that we were in. We couldn't just eliminate our waste and throw it to like. There's no sewage. There was no septic tanks. There were.
just barrels of
we're
shit.
we're in the middle of the desert,
Yeah.
inside a city, and that's the way we dispose of our human waste. So yeah, bro,
What?
burning shit, human feces is a real thing.
So anything you do now is grateful because you're not burning
Ah,
shit anymore. Like anything could
bro,
be worse than that.
it was. Have you ever feared for your life?
I can
That's
honestly say very few times, to be
okay.
honest.
Handful of times I fear for my
Yeah.
life. Everything after that, it's icing on the cake, dude. It's the fucking cherry on top. I mean, I'm so I can't express how grateful and fortunate I am to be where I am today. I can't. I would never fathom being where I'm at today. I'm just grateful. Like
Yeah.
the people around me, my fiance, my healthy daughter, bro. Just to have a healthy kid,
Mhm. Yeah.
that is a blessing. That is a
Oh,
blessing. You see, y'all. I don't want to get to like too controversial, but you see all these kids with autism and issues, and it's like, man, I mean,
a
I'm
lot
just
of people,
blessed,
that's
bro.
their day to day, like dealing with a kid with an illness or a genetic disease or all types of shit's crazy.
Well, I'll share this with you and the listeners. My sister, her daughter lives with Down syndrome.
Hmm.
So my niece lives with Down syndrome,
Hmm.
and it is not easy. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It is not easy.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a full-time job.
no,
And and they're just happy to be, they're happy. Like you know, they're just sweethearts. They're so grateful. They're grateful. Like they are so happy to be
yeah,
doing things and around. Like their attitude is contagious, I think.
she's a great girl. But yeah,
Um, s-
so.
So the next topic that people wanted us to talk about was culture, and I think that in the fire service, culture is everything. First, how would you define culture?
Environment, uh,
Hmm.
the reputation, right? Because a good or bad reputation will travel further.
Hmm.
um, yeah,
I think culture is of a bit. I think like a culture of a business or a culture of a sports team. You hear these. I think culture is such a spark word. Like it, it's cool all of a sudden to talk about your culture of your place or your business or your team or your crew. I think it's the way you do things and how do you go about doing it, and how people feel about what they're doing. Because all of those things come together, that kind of forms your culture. If you have people that aren't on the same wavelength or even on the same bus, like it terrorizes a culture. Like it makes everything harder because just one person or multiple people are just not on board. I've been around good cultures and bad cultures, and it's tough.
yeah. When I said environment, it could be a hardworking environment. You're gonna go to a certain place, you're gonna do work, or it could be toxic. It could be a
Mhm.
toxic environment where now people are being harassed, it's hostile, certain characters or personalities conflict and collide. That that's not what I envision culture to be, but there is that type of culture. I mean, that environment, type of reputation. Um, I want to build a culture where like, yo, we're gonna come in, eat good food, run some calls, and go home the next day. I
Hmm.
mean, let's do what's right.
Yeah.
Uh, you can never go wrong with doing what's right.
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah.
Totally.
It's black and white. That is negligent. That is wrong. Don't do that.
Mhm.
This is right. Treat people with respect. Run your call and do the best. Do the best you can with what you got at the present moment. I mean, I never understood like why are you treating people nasty? Like,
Hmm.
what's wrong
Well,
with you?
well, I think it's
Why?
people are hurt. People,
What
and
is
we live in a world.
underlining?
Yeah, exactly. So what's in happening within you to make you want to bring others down or have a bad attitude? Like instantly, that's where my mind goes. I'm like, if you're making an issue on a team, like what happened to you, man? Let's talk. Like who fucked you up? Like,
Hey, who
is it
hurt
a
you?
girl? Is it a family? Like,
Yeah,
let's talk. Let's try to sort it out because
yeah,
anyone that's continually trying to bring other people down, it's something that they hate about themselves, you know?
right. And I've been there where I'm not perfect. I am human, and I've projected my flaws onto people where I thought I saw something, but it turned out to be not the case. But and then I may have lashed out or said something
Mhm.
hurtful, but it was probably because I was hungry or
Hell yeah.
or I was just
Well,
upset with
we're not
myself.
we're not perfect. We're gonna have bad interactions. Like we're in a world where we interact with tons of people, and at different times we're gonna make some mistakes. Like it's okay to have a bad go with someone, and
Yeah,
but then I think say, hey man, when I mess up, I'm gonna fess up. Like, yo, dude, I was an asshole. I was hungry. I just got off shift. Me and my wife are fighting. Like we bring things to the table with interaction with the people that we don't realize until it's too late. And you're like, wow, was I an asshole to that guy? Because
sure.
I
Yeah.
feel like I was. So when I'm an asshole, I say, yo, I'm an asshole. Sorry. Can we start over? Like, my bad.
And now years later, I just stay quiet.
Mm.
Instead of saying the wrong thing, I just stay quiet. There's nothing like worse advice given. Well, I was gonna say this. What's worse than giving no advice is giving the wrong advice.
Oh yeah.
So for that, just stay quiet.
Hmm.
I don't need to hear XYZ if you're gonna steer me in the wrong direction. For that, just don't say anything at all. You
Yeah.
know, that's just like that saying. It's better to keep your mouth shut because when you start talking, people are gonna see that you're a fool or whatnot.
Hmm.
And I butchered that quote, but that just goes to show you if you stay quiet, it's unknown. But once you start
Hmm.
talking and you start saying the wrong things and you start saying things that are ignorant or, you know, I'm like, yep, there's
Yeah,
the
you did
proof.
it to yourself. Yep, you showed me
Exactly,
who you are. Yeah.
exactly.
Have
There it
you
is.
talk about a position or a time where you've been a part of a like a bad culture and what did you do to combat it or fix it? Because I think sometimes in our world we get put on teams that we necessarily don't always want to be on. And how do you mitigate being on a bad team or just something with bad culture?
Yeah, I was a sour team player when I was young. I would have much rather done it myself, than rely on someone and then just now I'm disappointed or expectations weren't met because there was a deadline and you didn't do your part and now we have to, you know, pick up the slack for you and etc.
Mm-hmm.
So going through that when I was younger, I was like, man, I just do it myself. As I've gotten older, you can't do everything yourself. I mean, you can, but it's just so much beneficial to have people that you love around you benefit and reap the rewards of, your hard work and, you just go so much further with people, you know, like-minded and your loved ones. So, um, to answer your question, I was on probation to be transparent, and I was not having a good time, and it was the environment I was in. I like to train. Training wasn't, like a thing, and just like a lot of conflicting information. One guy will say one thing, he'll mean another, and then another guy will say something, and then who do I listen to? So that back and forth between, mom and dad. I mean, like what's going on right now?
Yeah.
We're grown. It feels like
Mhm.
I felt like I was in the twilight zone. I could not do anything at the moment except for like call out.
Yeah.
Uh, when I dreaded going to work, bro.
Hmm.
It was like, man, this cannot be the end all be all. This cannot be my first introduction to what this is. And it wasn't. It got better when I was relocated. So you have to remove yourself from that environment, just like a flower or, you want something to bloom, you speak it, you give it positivity and energy and you speak it into life. You want
Hmm.
something to dwindle and die, you speak to it negatively and uh, demeaning words and,
Yeah.
negative, like the vibes of aura of like, festers and stagnant environment. That's true, man.
It's tough when you're the guy that is having to deal with it like a bad interaction or a bad team or a bad culture. Um, it's something you just gotta endure, and but give yourself opportunities to go elsewhere. Like, okay, I'm in a bad spot right now, so how can I align myself or mix my cards so I can maybe get out of here? Or I like to not. I don't say I've been on bad teams, but no one's controlling what I can do. So I'm gonna get my workout in. I'm gonna get my training in. I'm gonna do what I need to do. I'm gonna check my boxes for the day. And if y'all want to be a part of it, that's cool too. But if not, you can't stop what I got going on. Like I'm gonna keep rolling.
And that was pretty hard for me because I didn't have those tools or those techniques or those methods that you just spoke of. So it was like, man, I hope this ends or this too shall pass type of thing. And then what can I do? How can I change my perspective and how can I like treat it as a game type of thing or my outlook, my attitude. I control the controllable. Like I can control how I react to, what is happening to me. But ultimately, it taught me what not to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not
Filter.
I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I mean, don't get me wrong, but if you're going through anything similar, just know that it too shall pass. And if you could just switch your perspective
Hmm.
on your outlook and, you know, do deal with it the best you can and make a shitty situation into a positive one, I think you'll be all right.
Well, I think we should talk to all the officers or like upper level leadership in firehouses. You guys set the tone. Like the officer sets the tone. If the officer has a bad attitude, the engineer is going to have a bad attitude, and then that's going to trickle down. Like that trickle down effect from the upper leadership, it's either great or not. My captain right now, we're gonna work, we're gonna run calls, we're gonna have fun, and that is so contagious. Like it makes the day better. Like the officer sets the vibe, and you just roll with it. Are we a little bit silly and like to have a silly goose time? Yeah, like that's fun too. We got to have fun, but but he knows we have certain expectations, and he knows that we're gonna get after it. Like we know know what our jobs are, we know what our roles are. Like he set all fair expectations. It really bothers me because a lot of my guys, my friends that have worked with other departments or certain interactions with departments, when they get off probation, they get that bad experience. Like they get that bad deck of cards with a bad team, and they do get that sour taste in their mouth. Like this can't be what this job is. Like I had a completely different probation experience than a lot of guys had because I had a great crew. Like that's what it came down to is luck and who I was working with. There was guys that had changed departments after their probation because they didn't they weren't treated well, they didn't have good expectations. Like the officer sets the tone. I feel like that's got to be true.
So that's culture right there. You
Hmm.
know that saying, attitude reflects leadership?
Absolutely.
I got that from Remember the Titans.
Hell yeah. That's
Yeah,
a great movie. One of the best.
great movie, man. And the same in the military.
Hmm.
Same thing. You have Captain America there as your squad leader, your platoon sergeant, your platoon leader. You're training, you're doing things. You have, you know, Joe Schmo. You're
Hmm.
it is what it is, man. So
Yeah.
it's everywhere. You just gotta do the best, deal with it the best you can, and find methods and techniques that work for you to cope.
Hmm.
Honestly,
Get through it.
get through it. Endure,
Do
endure.
what you need to do to get somewhere else. Like take some classes, get on the rescue team or the water team, or specialize in some way that it can get you out of there. Don't complain and not do anything about it. Like you can't complain about your situation and then you've done nothing to try to change it and just sitting there and be miserable at your station. So do something, make something happen. If you want to get out, you got to do it. No one else is going to get you out of there unless it's you.
100%.
Yeah. That just gets me fired up.
Do something about it. You can't
Yeah.
just not do anything about it. Do something
Nothing
about it.
changes, nothing changes.
Correct. Correct.
Let's go on to hit on this next topic, which I think is going to be a hot topic. I can't wait to discuss. And the last one was substance abuse,
Here we
which
go.
substance abuse is a big thing in the fire service. And it didn't say necessarily what substance, and that kind of like triggered me to think like, okay, what types of substances do I abuse? Like, can sometimes my patterns be considered substance abuse, even in a healthy way? Are we do we use exercise as abuse of a substance? Like, where do you feel about that? Like, in the past, what's your experience with substance abuse?
So touching on what you just said about exercise, you can't have a unhealthy relationship with exercise to the point where like you debilitate yourself or you get injured or you get hurt because you're not training smart. So there's
Hmm.
that. So what is your vice? What vice are we talking about? Anything
Yeah,
that that can be considered being under the influence,
yeah.
right? Whether it be alcohol, drugs, etc. So substance. I I I perceive substance as anything that right. You're not coherent.
Hmm.
Anything that you could be like under the influence. So, but substance can it be gambling?
It could be anything, brother.
It could be anything. Damn.
Yeah, really.
I
That's what I
mean,
thought when I read it. Obviously, my brain goes to alcohol first, like
yeah,
substance abuse.
liquor
Like,
is right
yeah,
because it's kind of legal, right?
yeah, very legal. So I
And
got this
then
stat from an IAFF site about substance abuse in the fire service. So, 85% of career firefighters reported past month drinking. Career firefighters reported drinking 10 days a month, or about half of their off-duty days. Like that stat's crazy.
yes,
That's wild. If you're
that's
working 24/48, that's drinking 2 days and then back on, and drinking 2 days and then back on.
yeah, mind-boggling.
It, is that a norm? Is that normal?
Is it? I don't know, man. I mean, I don't see it.
Mm,
Most of my mentors don't drink alcohol.
yep.
I mean, they speak about it. No, I don't drink,
Hmm.
you know. And then so as a devil's advocate, right? I would be like, "Oh, that's silly. Come on, man. Just have a drink." Nah, man, I don't
Hmm.
touch it. Okay. When I used to drink.
Hmm.
Now you're like years later, like now I don't drink.
Hmm.
Like I don't mess with liquor. Like I don't mess with alcohol. I don't touch it.
Yeah.
It just tears down everything you try so hard to build, man.
Yeah.
Relationships, habits, you go out drinking one day, the next day you're worthless. You know, I think we've spoken about that. Sobriety is the
Mm,
new flex. People,
yep.
so many people want to escape reality. They don't want to confront and face, you know, their issues or problems straight on, that they have to resort to, like, you know, not being present. And
Hmm.
we can't waste this. You know,
Yeah.
I want to be present. I need to be present. I need to respond if something does happen within my nucleus. You know, I'm that guy. I'm it. I
Yeah.
have I can't call anyone to for backup. You know, I can't call mom and dad. No,
Yeah.
I'm it. I'm the
Yeah.
one that responds.
I
So
feel I feel like I was doing mental inventory of like what do I abuse? I definitely think I abuse, you know, like this gets this is the substance abuse right here for
sure,
me. Like at
sure.
times like it gets out of control and you got to reel it back in. I think sometimes you just mindless scroll. Like it's sometimes it's crazy what the phone does to your brain because you ever just pick up your phone for no reason. You're like, oh shit, I don't even really want my phone. It just picked it up. That thing is crazy. I,
Right.
and maybe it's just me because I got issues with it, but I think more of our people our age are dealing with that. Like it's almost like a nervous tick, or like you got to touch it, or like you got to
No,
keep it
it's
with you.
addiction.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's
Substance
addiction,
abuse.
and like you're missing out on something. But what are you missing out on?
Mm.
You know, because you're probably so hyper alert to like what other people are doing. Yeah, I mean
That
that's pretty much it, man. Like the
yeah.
whole Snapchat and the whole stories thing, like, man, how cool is that? But damn, how debilitating that can be.
Yeah, it's such a double-edged sword. I think the
It
phone is
is.
like you can help people, but you can also hurt yourself. Like it's a thing where I think genuinely in my heart, I was talking to Megan and her friend Liz about this. My heart is like in wanting to help others. So like the things that I put on social media are like to promote people to go do something, get out, be active, blah blah blah. But there is, if I'm being completely honest with myself, there's a little bit of part of me that wants a little bit of like validation. Like
Okay.
I, if I'm being honest, like some people,
Okay.
like I want to know what people know what I'm doing, like it
Sure.
happens. And if I feel like if you deny that part of your brain, if you don't know it's active, it's more like it's active crazy, you got to
Concealed.
acknowledge that a part of you wants that validation. And sometimes guess what? You just have to be honest. Be like, yo, I needed to be validated. Cool. All right, let's move on.
Yes. Wow, dude. That's clutch. What an insight. How insightful is what I want to say.
It You got to do a lot of digging sometimes, and you figure some shit out about yourself. You're like, man, I'm really not proud of that. I'm not who I'm want to be quite yet because I do struggle with these things. But I think that a lot of people struggle with that. A lot of people just want to be seen. I want to be heard. They want to be, told that hey, you're doing the right thing, or like you're fucking awesome. Like, and
Sure.
then guess what? I facilitate that. If I see something awesome, I'm like, yo, dude, that's sick. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Cool. Let me put this like I think we live in a world where we don't tell each other good job enough. Like we don't hear that enough in our society. So I think that's why we seek it out because we just want someone to tell us we're doing a good job. If I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
And you reinforce it and you
Yeah.
project it, right? You say it because underlinings, you want to receive it back as well,
Yeah.
type of
Or
thing.
we didn't get that. I didn't get a good job, a lot as a
Damn.
kid.
Attaboy, right?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Right
very
now,
mindful. Yeah, I'm
right
very
now, I
mindful of
mean,
that. Be with my son. Like I want to tell my son, good job. Like I'm proud of you. Like keep going. Like, like those things. Like
but then
I
there's a fine line between too much and not enough. And then
yeah.
is it genuine? Is it disingenuine? Is like, was it earned? Was it not earned? And so much like I, if there's an example I could use, like, I love you, I love you, I love you, it
Mm,
loses its validity to some point and it gets
mm.
watered down. So when you do say I love you, girlfriends, relationships, boyfriends, whatever, it doesn't hold weight as compared to when you say it those far and few times. I mean, I don't know. There's a fine line
It's
between
tough.
giving too much because I've had people or I've encountered people that tell you their life story off the rip.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
bro, I just met you. What are
That's
you
my
doing?
wife. That's my wife.
And it's like, what's going on right now? What do you want from me? Like, how can
Mhm.
this? Because I'm not that way, right? It takes me a little bit to like come out of my
Yeah.
shell because I'm guarded, right? And I'm fully aware of this. But most people, and that whole con artist thing, right? And the pranks and those shows where they just like prank you, and oh man, just people putting your livelihood at risk is so fucked up.
Mm.
Or you're going through a bad time and they benefit or they laugh from you going through a bad time. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like,
Yeah.
why would you put me in a bad spot or bad position just to like humor yourself? I think that's so fucked up, bro. For
Hmm.
real. I never enjoyed those prank shows.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's my perspective, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna do this to this person, it's gonna be funny or whatnot. But man, didn't you see like that dude fell into whatever or he's all wet or this and that? Like you caused that. You caught and then how people react, you would never know how someone reacts. So I'm
Mhm.
already ready when I do, like someone comes up to me, I have to be prepared. I have to
You got that.
be ready to react.
Yeah.
And they're gonna get what they deserve.
Yeah. I
Whatever.
mean, I also think that there there's good sides of people too. Like sometimes people
Sure.
do things for the right reasons.
Sure.
I'd
Yeah.
rather I like to live in a world where that is the majority of like people do want to do the right things for the right reasons. Because if, dude, that's tough. That's a tough life
Hmm.
thinking that everyone's out to try to get you. That's
Oh,
crazy too.
that but there is evil in this world. So you have
There
to be
is.
mindful of that because there
Do
that
you surround yourself with evil though?
no, as of lately, no, my nucleus is they're wholesome and
Oh yeah.
they're the things that I'm not. Or
Mm,
they lead a life that I haven't led, right?
mm.
Because I've
That's good.
I've done XYZ. And so like I said earlier in our family podcast, you know, kind of like absorb and filter, you know, and not to like shit on them and their reality
Yeah.
or their perception of the world. Because yeah, you got to keep that wholesomeness and that nobility and just being noble, right? Especially with a child, you have to keep them noble because
Mm.
once you lose them, man, it's I think you can't go back, right?
You said it
Once,
earlier. Just do what's right. Do what's right,
yeah.
man. That's a at the end of the day, if you just lean into that, do what's right, it'll save you a lot.
Back to the topic, substance abuse,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Is steroids anywhere in there?
I read, so we were going back and forth on this, and I think this is an episode we can dive into that. Well, like I said, we'll first of all say that we're fucking idiots. We don't know a lot about steroids or performance enhancing drugs. Like we went back and forth in our text string about like, what do we know? We don't even know shit about this, but it is a substance that people abuse in the fire service. I mean, there was an IAFF guide of how to
Oh,
do it.
that's right. That's right. There was an IFF like PDF file
Yeah, how to do it. I mean, I understand.
and with
So,
statistics and because I don't want to talk, you know,
like I
and I don't
said,
want to
that's why I
speak
opened
ignorant.
up the way we
Yeah,
we
I
opened
don't
up
want to
that way.
sound ignorant.
What these things can steroids, performance enhancing drugs, or whatever you're into have a negative effect on your body somehow, some way. If it's like making your heart too large, or there's a lot of heart issues when it comes to that kind of stuff. If you're doing it, just make sure you're doing it right or with a doctor. That's what I'm saying. Like you don't want to be doing steroids behind your buddy's, basement or something, like you got to make sure you're doing this with the right guys and doctors and stuff like that. But it's abused. It's a substance that is abused as well.
Yeah, there's that. So substance abuse in the fire service. Man, I didn't do my due diligence enough
Mm,
to like, you know, speak on the subject. But yeah,
yeah.
alcohol as a means to like cope, you
Mhm.
know, um, TRT, right?
Yeah.
Testosterone replacement therapy.
Yeah.
There's that. There
It
has
can
to
be
be.
abused, and there's normal ranges where obviously scientifically, biologically, as we get older, our body has less testosterone,
Right.
and yes,
It
that's
declines.
normal. Yeah,
Correct.
so keeping yourself in those normal levels, which are is totally okay, but once you go past those normal levels, that's when the bad stuff happens. So I'm not throwing shame on anyone that's trying to keep their testosterone levels in a normal avenue. Like that's not I'm not into that. But if you're abusing that and going way past, obviously those doses gets crazy. But that's where bad stuff happens. That's abuse.
Was the was the policy on marijuana over there in the state
Doop, done.
negative?
Like one shot, one kill, you're out.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not authorized on here.
Not
Not
not in
even
Florida. So, and that I think that's another one that we can talk about. Do you think we'll see the day where marijuana is you could just use it anytime? Like
I don't know, man. It's I don't know. Again, I don't want to sound ignorant and talk
Mm,
out of my ass because I don't know enough about the that space.
hmm
But
I think the big issue right now is that there's no rapid test. Like there's not something, you know how they do the DUI where they can blow into it and tell you how much alcohol
the
you have in you?
breathalyzer.
Yeah, that's a word. I think that's the first time that's ever happened. But there's no marijuana rapid test. Like there's not so if you're driving the rig or the truck and you crash, there's no test that they could do immediately besides a blood test that could tell if you have marijuana THC in your system. So I think that's a big thing that's holding up a lot of things. Plus, I think where we live, South Carolina and Florida, so the laws will never allow, we'll be the last couple of states to ever legalize or whatever, decriminalize or whatever that is. We'll be the last one to do it.
Yeah, substance. It could be anything.
Mm. Look,
A
and
vice.
if you, there's so many resources out there now. Like there's obviously you guys have a peer team, like you
We
have
we do.
a peer team inside. So do we. Our department does. So look, guys, I know you can get. There's a lot of people that don't want to do that or like talk to someone or get a reputation of someone that needs therapy. But like, there's tons of options out there now. Like, if you need to talk to someone, there's no shame in that. Like, I'm not gonna make fun of you because you want to talk about what you got going on. Like, that's strength for me. Saying recognizing that I have a problem and I want to help solve it. That's strength. That's a flex for me in an adult age.
Yeah, be able to recognize. Well, that's what Rise is.
Mm,
Rise, recognize, identify,
mm,
solve, and then examine.
yep.
That's the method, four-step method to like attacking, confronting a vice, a hardship, adversity. First, you have to have the wherewithal to recognize whatever you're going through, then
Hmm.
identifying it, pinpoint it, like this is exactly it. Then find solutions, right? And then examine those solutions. If it didn't work out, go back to the drawing board, go back to step one. But yeah, man, um,
I think that's, like, is that yours? Did you do
that's
that?
yeah, that's mine.
I know that's in the book you sent me. I've read it multiple
Yeah,
times. That, where can people get that book? Is it on
it's on
Uncivil?
Amazon.
Out on Amazon.
Yeah, I should stop saying I'm not a good marketer because I really
You,
don't know how to market. And branding as of lately, Alex Hormozy, he spoke
yeah,
about branding.
yeah.
So speaking about culture,
Mm-hmm.
culture is like a brand.
Mm-hmm.
The brand is the culture they associate themselves with.
Yeah.
So there's that. Um, so yeah, I think I should get better at these things.
I think, we talked about with Chris the other day when you have a brand or something you're promoting and you're genuine, people love that. Like you're a fucking genuine dude. Like I'm a fucking genuine dude. People love that. Like it'll be fine. Like when you're trying to sell snake oil or like some shit that you really if you're really not about it, people would like you said,
Uh,
you'll talk your
yeah,
way out of that shit real quick. So,
yeah,
when it comes to building this brand or building this podcast or, Uncivil, like we're just gonna be who we are.
yeah.
You
It's a
know,
mindset, bro. It's a
if you don't
mentality.
fucking like it, unfollow,
Yeah.
dude. Oh, do we address the fucking YouTube hater or what?
Which one?
Oh, someone. So yeah, exactly. No, I mean, dude, do
No,
we love
it's
negative
okay.
comments. That's
It's
fine.
okay. Speaking of,
Yeah.
smash that like button, hit that
Yeah.
subscribe button, and comment down below. I think we should open up with
Absolutely.
that. We should open up with
Yeah.
that. Bro, have you seen these YouTubers and their monthly accounts? How much they
No,
bring in? Have you
it's
do you know Mr.
crazy.
Beast?
Yeah.
YouTuber?
Hmm.
I think it was 176 mil a year.
Yeah, he's a genius, but it's also how
The
he edits his
algorithm.
videos. Yeah, how what
Yeah.
he
The
does.
team.
He's been doing it a long time too. Like
He
give him
has. He
his
has.
credit. He knows how to get people to watch his videos. The production value's gone up. Like he's legit.
Well, I went back to like his inception, like to see how this
Hmm.
dude started and what he was doing. He was doing these wild things, like counting to like a million and doing all these like challenges. And
Hmm.
it was when he was giving away stuff.
Yep.
I want to pinpoint it to that. He just gave away stuff, free stuff to people. He recorded it and posted it. He paid off his mom's house. He recorded her reaction, and people fuck with that.
Yeah.
And it was just like
But
So why the
now
fight after that?
I think he was on Rogan and he talked about like his videos have gotten so big with their cost that he doesn't even make a lot of money off the videos anymore. Like the production value is so high, what he gives away is so expensive that
Correct.
even off YouTube he doesn't make a lot of money because it costs a lot of money to make the episode that
Right.
he's cutting his profit in half. But now everyone knows Mr. Beast.
Household name, man. I didn't even know who
Yeah.
this kid was. And I looked him up. I was like, good Lord, I want to do that.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Just get a slice. And there's more than enough to go around. It's not
yeah,
like, and we'll work for it. Oh,
mm,
we're working for it, you know?
yeah.
So,
There's a whole nother realm of the younger generation, even younger than me, that are like streamers and YouTubers and like they're people that will pay you to watch you play video games. Like that's some shit I've can't fucking wrap my head around. Like not what I don't want to play the video game, but I want to pay you to play the video game and I'm going to watch you. Like what kind of shit is that? I need to get on that. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm jealous when I get
we
angry. It's like
we need to get
nobody
on
was
that. Well, that's
nobody
what
was
this is
watching
all
me.
about, man. That's what this podcast is all about, and hopefully we can make it, man. I mean, we're
Hell
starting
yeah.
off, and then we could like look back at the first couple episodes and be like, damn, man, we've come a long way. So that's where we're headed, man. Hopefully, like I said, I just want a piece of the pie. I'm not, there's
Let's
more
not
than
get
enough to go
greedy,
around.
but let's get our piece.
So yeah, my
But
dude.
yeah, man, I think we hit on all the topics that people threw out to us, and I really enjoy talking about this. So we might throw one of these episodes out every once in a while and kind of hear what you guys want to talk about and us hear our perspective. So we'll keep you guys on board with these kind of episodes. Like I said, I love these episodes. Just catching up and shooting this shit with Eric is one of my favorites. So be on the lookout for some of these question asking episodes, and we'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, please do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button.
Yeah,
Hit that
hit
like button
like,
and go
subscribe,
ahead and
comment.
comment down below.
Yeah, we got to work on our little
Our
YouTube
spiel,
thing.
the
Yeah,
YouTube thing. It's for the algorithm, people. Help us out.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll
Smash
get
that
better at
like
it.
button. Is that what they say? Smash that like
Smash,
button.
hit the subscribe button. I don't know what to say, but it works for them. Hopefully it works for us.
Yeah, man.
So, to all the viewers and listeners out there, the Uncivil Mentality Podcast, thank you for joining us. On behalf of myself, Erik Vidal,
And I'm Reilly Kilbride. Get after it. Get in your gear. Start f***ing training. It can never be enough.